Hello, welcome to my video. Before you start watching, I will ask you to subscribe to the channel, as more than 99% of people watch videos without a subscription. Thomas Daniels briskly walked down the crowded city street, lost in his own thoughts. His mind was consumed by a recent setback in his life, leaving him feeling disheartened. As he reached the bustling crosswalk, his attention was suddenly drawn to a woman hurrying across the road, oblivious to the speeding cars. Without hesitation, Thomas sprinted towards her, his heart pounding in his chest. In a split second, he reached her side, pulling her away from the oncoming traffic and safely onto the sidewalk. Brenda Croftoon, startled and breathless, looked up at her savior, her eyes wide with gratitude. "Thank you. You saved my life," she exclaimed, her voice filled with genuine appreciation. Thomas smiled warmly, his blue eyes shining with humility. "I couldn't just stand by and watch. I'm glad I could help," he replied, his voice calm yet reassuring. Their eyes locked for a moment, a flicker of connection passing between them before they exchanged introductions. Brenda extended her hand. "I'm Brenda Croftoon." "Thomas Daniels," he responded, shaking her hand gently. It was a simple gesture, but it felt significant, as if their destinies had intertwined in that moment. Over the following weeks, Thomas and Brenda spent countless hours together, exploring the depths of their shared interests and dreams. Their connection deepened with each passing day, and a profound bond began to take shape. One evening, as the sun painted the sky with hues of orange and gold, Brenda and Thomas found themselves at a cozy bistro, enjoying a candlelit dinner. The ambience was enchanting, amplifying the emotions brewing within them. Brenda couldn't help but express her gratitude again, her voice laced with emotion. "Thomas, you become such an important part of my life. I can't thank you enough for saving me that day." Thomas leaned forward, his gaze unwavering. "Brenda, meeting you was a turning point in my life. It feels like we were meant to cross paths that day, destined to find solace in each other." Their eyes locked once more, and in that intimate moment, they both realized the depth of their feelings. It was as if their hearts had found the missing piece they didn't know was absent. However, amidst their blossoming connection, a new opportunity arose. Brenda discovered a job opening at her company, coincidentally, the very company Thomas had been eyeing for a fresh start. Brenda couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement as she learned about the job opening at her company. The position aligned perfectly with Thomas's skills and aspirations. She saw an opportunity to repay his kindness and also to keep him close. She wasted no time in recommending Thomas for the job. She spoke highly of his character, praising his dedication and ability to think on his feet. Brenda's words held weight within the company, and Thomas' application swiftly made its way to the top of the pile. A few days later, Thomas received a call for an interview. Nervous yet determined, he prepared himself to face the challenges that lay ahead. Little did he know, his connection with Brenda had already opened a door of possibilities for him. In the interview room, Thomas showcased his capabilities and genuine passion for the industry. The interviewers were impressed, recognizing the spark of potential within him. As fate would have it, Thomas was offered the job, his dream finally within reach. Unbeknownst to Brenda, she played a crucial role in securing Thomas's position. But as the days passed, a wave of unease crept into her heart. The thought of working alongside Thomas, their connection exposed within the professional realm, filled her with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. Thomas's first day at the company arrived, brimming with a mixture of nerves and excitement. He dressed in his best attire, ready to embark on this new chapter of his life. Stepping into the sleek office building, he couldn't help but marvel at the sense of opportunity that lay before him. As Thomas entered the open concept office space, he caught a glimpse of Brenda at her desk. Her eyes widened with surprise as she spotted him, but she quickly composed herself, offering a warm smile. Thomas approached her, his heart pounding with both familiarity and the lingering mystery of their connection. "Thomas, welcome," Brenda said, her voice tinged with a blend of astonishment and delight. "I had no idea you'd be joining us." Thomas returned the smile, feeling a mix of gratitude and curiosity. "Thank you, Brenda. It's quite the coincidence, isn't it? I'm grateful for this opportunity." As the days turned into weeks, Thomas and Brenda navigated the delicate balance between their personal connection and their professional lives. They exchanged knowing glances during meetings, their unspoken connection hanging in the air. However, Brenda couldn't shake the guilt that weighed on her conscience. One evening, unable to contain her internal struggle any longer, Brenda found herself in Thomas's office after hours. The room was bathed in the soft glow of dimmed lights, adding to the tension that lingered between them. "Thomas," Brenda began, her voice quivering with emotions. "There's something you need to know. Something that I should have told you from the beginning." Thomas watched Brenda with a mixture of concern and anticipation. Her words hung in the air, creating a sense of unease within him. He had sensed something beneath the surface, something Brenda was holding back. Brenda took a deep breath, her gaze locked with Thomas's. "When we first met, I didn't realize who you were," she admitted, her voice filled with remorse. "You see, Thomas, I have a long-term boyfriend. His name is Patrick Barrington, and he's the CEO of this company." Thomas's heart sank, the weight of Brenda's revelation crashing down on him. Conflicting emotions swirled within him: disappointment, confusion, and a tinge of betrayal. He had allowed himself to hope, to believe in the possibility of something more with Brenda. "I understand if this changes things between us," Brenda continued, her eyes pleading for understanding. "I should have been honest with you from the start." Thomas remained silent for a moment, his mind racing. He respected Brenda's honesty, yet he couldn't deny the pain that now pierced his heart. The connection they shared had been genuine, but now it seemed destined to be overshadowed by the realities of Brenda's existing relationship. With a heavy sigh, Thomas finally spoke, his voice laced with both resignation and kindness. "Brenda, I appreciate your honesty, but we both have the boundaries we must respect. Let's focus on our work and maintain a professional relationship." Brenda nodded, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. She had hoped for a different outcome, but she understood the consequences of her actions. Days turned into weeks, and the once vibrant connection between Thomas and Brenda seemed to fade into the background of their professional lives. They exchanged polite greetings, and while their shared history lingered between them, it remained unspoken. Meanwhile, Cordelia Campbell, a compassionate colleague who had observed the complexities of the situation, couldn't help but feel a sense of empathy for both Thomas and Brenda. Cordelia possessed a keen insight into matters of the heart and a desire to see those around her find happiness. One afternoon, Cordelia approached Thomas in the break room, a gentle smile on her face. "Thomas, may I join you for a moment?" she asked, her voice filled with warmth. Thomas nodded, motioning for Cordelia to take a seat. "Of course, Cordelia. What's on your mind?" Cordelia chose her words carefully, her eyes filled with compassion. "I've noticed the tension between you and Brenda. It's clear that there's unfinished business there. Would you like to talk about it?" Thomas paused, his gaze fixed on his cup of coffee. After a moment, he looked up, meeting Cordelia's eyes. "It's complicated, Cordelia. Brenda and I share a connection, but circumstances prevent us from exploring it further. I've accepted that." Cordelia leaned forward, her voice gentle yet persistent. "Sometimes, Thomas, we find ourselves at a crossroads, and it's in those moments that we must decide whether to follow our hearts or stay within the confines of what's expected. Only you can determine which path is right for you." Thomas pondered Cordelia's words, her sincerity striking a chord within him. He realized that he had allowed the fear of heartbreak and the weight of Brenda's existing relationship to overshadow his own desires. Perhaps it was time to reassess his choices and confront the truth within his own heart. Days turned into weeks, and Thomas found himself observing Brenda from a distance, contemplating the depths of their connection. Despite the boundaries they had set, a magnetic pull continued to draw them closer, whispering of the possibilities that lay beyond. One evening, Thomas decided to take matters into his own hands. He crafted a heartfelt letter, pouring his emotions onto the page. He expressed his admiration for Brenda, the way she had brightened his life, and the depth of their connection. It was a risk, bearing his soul in such a vulnerable manner, but he knew it was a risk worth taking. The next day, Thomas left the letter on Brenda's desk, his heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. As the hours ticked by, he couldn't help but second-guess his decision. What if he had misread the signs? What if their connection was one-sided? Just as doubt threatened to consume him, Brenda appeared at his desk, a soft smile playing on her lips. In her hand, she held the letter, its pages slightly creased from being read and reread. "Thomas," she said, her voice filled with a mix of gratitude and uncertainty, "your words touched me deeply. I've been wrestling with my own emotions, and I realize that I can't deny the connection we share." Thomas's heart soared with a mix of relief and joy. He reached out, gently taking Brenda's hand in his. "Brenda, we may not know what lies ahead, but I believe in us. Let's navigate this journey together, facing whatever challenges may come." Brenda nodded, her eyes shimmering with determination. "Yes, Thomas. Let's be brave and embrace the unknown. Our connection is too strong to ignore." And so Thomas and Brenda embarked on a path uncharted, their hearts entwined in a love that defied expectations. They knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, But armed with their shared bond and unwavering belief in each other, they were ready to face the challenges that awaited them. As the days went by, Thomas couldn't shake the lingering thoughts of Brenda and the unexplored potential between them. He found himself contemplating whether he should follow his heart, despite the complexities of their situation. One evening, as the office emptied out, Thomas mustered the courage to have an honest conversation with Brenda. He approached her desk, his voice filled with a mix of vulnerability and determination. "Brenda, can we talk?" he asked, his eyes searching hers for a flicker of understanding. Brenda looked up, surprise evident in her gaze. "Thomas, I thought we had agreed to keep things professional." "I know," Thomas replied, his voice steady. "But I've come to realize that suppressing our connection has only caused us pain. I understand the complications, but I can't deny my feelings any longer." Brenda's expression softened, a myriad of emotions flickering across her face. "Thomas, I've been struggling too. The truth is, my relationship with Patrick has been strained for a while. I care for you deeply, but I'm afraid of the consequences if we pursue this." Thomas took a deep breath, his eyes unwavering. "Brenda, life is full of risks. We can't let fear dictate our choices. If we truly believe in what we share, we owe it to ourselves to explore it together." Brenda's eyes filled with tears, conflicted yet hopeful. "I need time, Thomas. Time to sort through my emotions and make a decision. But know that you've touched my heart in a way I never expected." Thomas nodded, his heart brimming with a mix of anticipation and trepidation. They both understood that the road ahead would be filled with uncertainties and challenges, but they were willing to face them together. As they parted ways that evening, Thomas couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of hope. He knew that the path they had chosen would be filled with obstacles, but the love that had blossomed between them was worth fighting for. The moral of the story is that love can often lead us down unexpected paths, challenging our preconceived notions and pushing us to confront our fears and vulnerabilities. It teaches us that taking risks and being true to our hearts can lead to personal growth and fulfillment, even in the face of adversity. It reminds us that true love is worth fighting for, and that sometimes the most rewarding journeys are the ones that defy expectations and venture into uncharted territory.